Well, the guys at ReeFlex are at it again. They gave us the Super Telephoto. Now they're out with the Ultra Telephoto. 600mm to be exact. Yeah, on an iPhone. Their original Super Telephoto was a 2x teleconverter that worked on the 5x tele of the iPhone 15 Pro. And then when the newer iPhone came along with the 100 and 200mm built-in tele, that turned your tele into a 200 to 400 zoom range. But now with the Ultra Telephoto will give you a 300 to 600. And I gotta say, it's pretty crazy. To give you some context, here are the built-in lenses in the iPhone, and then the Super Telephoto, and then with the Ultra Telephoto.
It's a 24mm, not using any filters, just to keep the image as clean as possible. And this is the 48mm built into the iPhone on the 17 Pro Max. Now this is the 4x or the 100mm. And now this is the 8x or the 200mm. All these have been built into the iPhone. And now this is the original ReeFlex 240mm. So 2x teleconverter, and it's on the iPhone 100mm. And this is on the now 8x 200mm with the ReeFlex 240mm. So essentially this is a 400mm shot. And now this is the ReeFlex 300 to 600mm, which is essentially a 3x teleconverter. And we're on the 100mm of the iPhone. And so that means we're 300mm right now, 300mm. And now we're on the 8x, which is a 200mm on the iPhone, but with the teleconverter, we're now at a 600mm focal length. That is a long shot compared to the 24.
So here is the lens, and as you can probably tell, it is a good size lens. It's very professional, very, very well built, and it has some weight to it. And I don't mean that in a bad way, especially if you're doing professional photography or video. Adding weight when you're using a tripod, etc. can be a good thing. You get smoother pans and tilts, and it can actually help with the stabilization. But just as a comparison, here is the 240mm, the Super Telephoto, and then here is the 300 to 600, the Ultra Telephoto. Quite a bit of difference. This lens with the cap on weighs 340 grams. Without the cap, and it's a nice magnetic cap, it weighs 310 grams. It also comes with a back cap, and it's a 17mm mount, just like the rest of their lenses, which is great because that makes it more or less universal. And here's what's really incredible about the lens. Way down there is a shot of a car driving. I think that's probably half a mile away, maybe more. And with the Ultra Telephoto, I just captured that, and you could never do that before. So it's the built-in iPhone 200mm with the ReeFlex 3x teleconverter equaling 600mm. And I got the shot way, way down there. And I'm digitally zooming right now on my second iPhone, but shooting with the ReeFlex, it is optical. this is the rig I used to shoot all the footage in this video. Not this tripod, I used a larger traditional tripod, but the rig here with the lens, and I'm using a reflex case. But one thing I did also use is their magnetic filters. And so they provide a magnetic filter ring that just goes right on the lens, and then they have magnetic filters that pop right on there. And I have found their filters to be pretty good. So most of the stuff in this video was shot using an ND. And ND really is the secret sauce to making your iPhone footage not look like iPhone footage. You get nice motion blur, and so when paired with a long lens like this and the shallow depth of field and the compressed shots, this stuff does not look like it was shot on an iPhone. This being such a long lens, you can get some camera shake, especially if you're shooting in the wind on a tripod. So using a heavy-duty tripod is a good idea. Make sure it's locked down. But even then, you might have a little bit of camera shake. And that happens with all lenses, by the way. It happens with the built-in iPhone lenses as well. And so often I'll use post-stabilization to take out the micro shakes. Another tip is if you're shooting photography and you don't have a tripod, you can use the lens itself to hold the camera. And it actually feels like a traditional camera when you do that. And even with the setup that I use, I have the handle below it, but then you can also hold on to the lens itself while shooting. But if you're not using a cage or the rig and just the phone itself, holding the lens then as you're holding the rig works surprisingly well. If you're interested in the Ultra Telephoto, they are launching it on Kickstarter right now, and I've got a link in the description. All pricing and availability will be at that Kickstarter link. And then if you're watching this video after the Kickstarter has ended, the lens will be available at the ReeFlex website, and I'll have that link in the description as well. Shooting with the Super Telephoto was a lot of fun, and now this Ultra Telephoto really takes it to a next level. And so if you like that long lens compressed look, shallow depth of field, and again, shooting stuff that doesn't look like you're using an iPhone, this is definitely something to check out. And for me, these lenses are just a really great addition to every mobile filmmaking kit. Thanks for watching.